Whoa, what an episode. Hello and welcome to Nerdist After. Tonight, we're talking about episode 8 of Marvel's Cloak and Dagger, and there is, dare I say, too much to cover. I'm Hector Navarro.
And I'm Eliza Pearl. To help us make sense of all the episode's biggest revelations, we have executive producer, showrunner, and extraordinaire Joe Pokaski dropping by.
Yes.
Plus, we are once again joined by the stars of the show, Olivia Holt and Aubrey Joseph.
That's right, we got superheroes here in studio, but first, a lot of really big things happened in this episode. So if you need a little refresher, go to Hulu or the Freeform app to get caught up, then come back here for all of that extra Marvel sauce that you crave and that you can only get here.
Plus,
Specialize in the sauce.
we do. Plus, if you stick around, you'll be rewarded with an exclusive sneak peek of episode 9, so don't touch that dial or remote control or touchscreen or whatever you kids are using these days. This is Nerdist After.
This episode was packed with emotion, action, and surprises. So spoiler alert, here's what happened. Okay, over a very suggestive breakfast, Fuchs agrees to help O'Reilly take down Connors. This breakfast was suggestive. Ivan Hess tells Tandy where to find a memo of her father's that may help blow the lid off of the Roxxon cover-up. Tandy then infiltrates Roxxon and kidnaps Scarborough, who offers to pay her off, and Tyrone traps Connors in a sting operation with the help of O'Reilly and Fuchs. Connors admits to Billy's murder and gets arrested, which was awesome. Unfortunately, Tandy takes the Roxxon bribe after seeing a disturbing vision about her father, and someone or something immediately retaliates for the arrest of Connors by putting Fuchs on ice. Whoa! Shocking. Look at that.
Woo-hoo,
Shot.
boy.
He got fridged, y'all. Whoa.
Yeah.
Too much.
Oh my goodness. So clearly, we have a ton to talk about, guys. Luckily, we're joined by our resident Cloak and Dagger aficionado, Rachel Hine.
Rachel. Hi.
I lost my dang mind in this episode. I
too.
screamed in my apartment. My cat was like, "What's happening?" It was what a crazy.
It's fine.
Yeah, I'm really cool. That was a really cool anecdote. But no, this was an awesome episode in every sense. When Joe gets here, because we had spoken with him about kind of turning the tables on different female cop tropes.
Yes.
The fridging of a male, a literal fridging of a male character, I was like, that's brilliant,
Yes.
but also disturbing.
Yes. Bad. So bad.
Rachel, for those of us who don't know what fridging means,
yeah.
can you tell us what that means?
So it's traditionally it started in comic books, which
comic
Hector
books.
can speak a little bit more to, but
yes, I can.
it's using the death of a female character to further the plot line of the male hero.
A love interest will meet her, and sometimes his, but more often her demise.
It's the
to
female character.
further the plot. And man, how are you guys feeling after that reveal, especially? But we've also got Cloak using his cloak as a cloak.
Oh my
We have
goodness.
got
Oh my
Nathan
goodness.
Bowen, the revelation that he was an abusive husband.
Oh my God! And
We've got
some
Tandy
of the
taking
writing there.
Oh my goodness.
With the theater and sort of this idea that to put my literary or story analysis hat on of this idea that the mom has been putting on this show for her daughter for all of these years to preserve her memory of her father so that she wouldn't know that. So having it in the theater, I was like, God, that's good writing.
Really good.
yeah.
It's really good.
And also the ending when we see Detective O'Reilly coming in and you know something is wrong.
Yeah, I'll just say that when we panned to the refrigerator, my brain was like, oh, no way. This
like,
would
wait.
be amazing.
It's just waffles in there,
It
right?
didn't happen. It's just waffles. There's just like a horse's head, something else, something that's not. Oh, boy.
Oh my goodness. Wow. There was a lot, so much in this episode. We also see that as a child, Tyrone had a run-in with Evita's aunt.
That's right.
Does this explain why she was compelled to create his doll?
I think so. And honestly, the transfusion line made me very nervous.
No greater sacrifice than that, yeah.
Which makes me think of a literal blood sacrifice.
Ooh.
So I hope that is not what's in the cards, but some good foreshadowing.
I mean, I mentioned it before, but real quick, when we hear the words blood transfusion, I know a lot of Marvel fans go to one of the most famous blood transfusions in Marvel Comics, which was between She-Hulk and the Hulk. Jennifer Walters, the She-Hulk, is the cousin of Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and he was visiting her in Los Angeles, and then she got into an accident where she had like a drive-by shooting occur because she was a lawyer involved in this case, and somebody put out a hit on her. She was losing blood, so Bruce Banner, in an effort to save his cousin's life, he knew that they were the same blood type, performed an emergency blood transfusion, and then she became the She-Hulk. But it makes me think of those kinds of classic comic book Marvel storylines, power transfer. We know that Cloak and Dagger in Marvel Comics operate differently with their powers than Tandy and Tyrone in the show. So maybe by the end of the season, there might be a blood transfusion emergency, where they could maybe share a little bit more of a connection in their powers. I don't know. I went to that theory.
More balance, maybe, too.
More balance, maybe, yes.
Yeah, and in the comics, he does need her light to survive. Right. So maybe it would be Tandy has to, if it's a literal blood transfusion, maybe that's where it comes from.
There's a lot in those lines, yeah.
There's also the significance of the ghost discussion. So, quote unquote, only spirits looking to settle a score would harm a person. Interesting. What do you guys make of that?
I mean, I think it buried itself in Tyrone's head, so that later, when he will take on this identity of Cloak, this sort of vigilante justice, he felt like, no, this will work because I'm going to scare the crap out of the guy, and I'm a ghost, seeking justice and vengeance.
I like that plan. I thought it was actually
it was
really
great. And I like who's like, haven't you heard of the Telltale Heart?
Yeah,
that's great. Like,
Elisa, what did you think of Tandy taking that Roxanne money? What did you make of that? I mean, is she planning to double cross? Is this part of her plan? What do you think?
It's hard to say. Like, I think I was still very much rooting for her to get that justice for her dad, but then she finds out the truth about her mom and her dad's relationship, and so I understand. It just happened so fast. I was like, oh yeah, well, that's the choice. That makes sense.
And speaking of parents not being perfect, we see in a flashback Tyrone's mother saying that she doesn't feel safe there anymore. Yes. What is that? Is that because they lost their son? Does that have something to do with Roxanne, where they may be paid off to keep quiet about Billy's death?
Oh goodness.
And so
that's how they got out of the neighborhood.
Got out of the neighborhood. We've seen before that that Tyrone felt guilty about receiving checks.
If they covered it up and were accepting, hush money, which I completely, again, understand doing to protect your family, do they have a target on their family now because of this?
Such a bummer if our hero characters, Tyrone and Tandy, Cloak and Dagger, were able to do the superhero thing and take down the bad guys, but then their family deals with the repercussions. Oh man,
I can't even.
It's tough to be a hero sometimes.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's go back to the Fuchs in the fridge thing real quick. So what are your theories?
I think he died.
Okay.
I think that something.
It had to be Roxanne.
It's Roxanne. It's got to be Roxanne, and it's got to be someone even higher than Scarborough.
But wait, I disagree. I'm not sure it's Roxanne because I think Connors has all of his drug pin people.
Underworld connections.
I think it was just him. And maybe there's a connection, something that connects the two sides higher up. But I think first level was that they took out Connors, so Connors is now paying back.
That makes sense. And there's more of a underbelly situation happening there.
He was sending a message to O'Reilly because he did see some smooching.
He saw the smooching.
And smooching can be great, but also smooching can lead to bad guys going you're all a smooching? Okay,
That's your vulnerability is the person you're smooching.
Yeah, you might not want to kiss your boo-boo right in front of
the bad guys.
Your bad guy that you that's kill this person in the future.
I know, but it was such a great moment.
It was
great. But that happens on I've seen that in some of, again, iconic shows that I think this is living up to, where you have these great moments and it's nope, you showed your weakness and now you have to harden yourself and
Before we bombard Joe Pokaski with all of our very thoughtful questions, let's take a look at a clip that definitely is not the Fuchs in a fridge scene. Psych, got you, totally is. Take a look.
No!
No!
Not again.
Hey, get up! I want celebration pancakes. No, you're making a feast this time.
I just ride the wave.
Whoa, please say hello to Marvel's Cloak and Dagger showrunner and executive producer, Joe Pokaski. Joe.
Hey again, guys.
Keep coming back. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me once again.
First, Greg, now Fuchs. Which male love interest is next, Joe? Is no one safe?
Wow, I never thought about that. I feel like I'm like a horrible protective father now.
That's right. Nobody's good enough to date my characters. Well, first of all, how did you guys shoot that scene? What kind of prop was used? What kind of, I mean, that was makeup? That was incredible.
That was Lane Miller, who's just an amazing actor.
Did he get in there?
He got in
He
there?
got in there. The amount of discussions and emails about this fridge, because we wanted to do it right. And there was a point where I was like, well, we have some negative space. Let's put some shelves and some meat in there. And everyone was like just frightened and confused. And then our production designer, Megan Rogers, looked at kind of the Green Lantern comics that were the first, inspiration about talking about this phenomenon. And we kind of matched some stuff along the way. So God bless Lane for staying in there. And Alex Garcia Lopez, who directed it, just really got the moment.
I love it. I mean, great spacious fridge that you guys got too. So props to everybody who put that together, because
Well, I remember when we were talking about O'Reilly as a character, and you were saying that there were moments coming up in future episodes about flipping the script on the female characters in the show. And when this happened, I thought immediately, I was like, this is like the ultimate flip of that trope. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like Christine Boylan and Jenny Klein, who wrote the script, from I think our first day in the room, where I was like, okay, I just found out about fridging 2 years ago, and we need to how do we make a comment? How do we let more people know about it? And we thought it would be a great idea to, again, Emma as well as Lane were kind of always game to kind of reverse that and play it all the way through. And, at least hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about when it's misused.
Yeah.
Wow, very
absolutely.
cool, yeah. Joe, can you give us any clarification on who this mysterious uncle is, or uncles? There's been a couple uncles. Connor said his uncle helped him to get into Vice. Is that connected to Fuchs's death?
Connor's his uncle, and if we're fortunate enough to tell some more stories, we'll be exploring some more. He's a man powerful enough to get someone into Vice, the next day after something happens.
Whoa.
Wow.
And a little different from the original uncle we had in the pilot story, with our young white privileged homie who got drugged by Tandy. Oh, and then stabbed.
Is this uncle in the Force or in another area of another position of power?
I think he's in a more general position of power.
Makes sense.
General, vague, you mean? But no, okay, we'll take that. We'll take that. Yes, that's what.
Mayor.
Ooh, maybe a
Mayor.
politician.
Yeah.
Politician. Okay.
Could be. That could be.
Season 2 of The Wire.
Well, Joe, here's an easy question for you. Psych, just kidding. What can you tell us about Tyrone's parents' involvement with Roxanne Gulf? Did they accept any kind of bribe or payment after Billy's death to cover things up? A settlement?
No, I think what happened is they got ramrodded by the police, and they basically got, gaslit to some degree. We're going to be exploring kind of the real story. I think we've thought a little less about what Adina, Ty's mom, has done, and she's going to tell the truth, and it's going to be kind of boring and kind of heartbreaking at the same time. But I think, again, Jenny, Christine, and I always talked about this episode being an emotional origin story for the parents as well as the kids. And this is where, it's funny watching Gloria Rubin play so vulnerable, because she's such a strong actress and such just a strong human being. But her saying, I want to get out of there, is when they basically both decided to get different jobs, earn more money, and build this kind of gilded cage for Tyrone.
Yeah.
Well, I love that too, because it's, again, looking at making these complex emotional characters, seeing these parents be vulnerable and strong at the same time. Those things are not mutually exclusive. They're people too, and so I love seeing those layers from them.
Yeah. Joe, take us through that vision sequence where Tandy and Tyrone see Melissa Bowen's memory of her husband.
Yes.
And why was it at a theater and not a ballet performance, as her mom kind of wanted to remember it?
Going off of what Rachel said, is that sort of that theater of a family putting on.
That's exactly it. I feel like now I'm just going to be writing for Rachel and be like, will she understand this?
Just send her the script beforehand.
Exactly.
Rachel is the target demo.
But I think that's it. I mean, I think we were talking about kind of, we all lie to ourselves. So this felt like, we're going to get into this, if we're fortunate enough to tell other seasons, but we wanted to tell the story of Melissa knowing that if Tandy knew she had an abusive father, that she'd be more likely to seek out an abusive mate. And so I think what she wanted to do was hide it from her. So she lied to herself. And so this is kind of, again, Alex Garcia Lopez, Christine Boylan, Jenny Klein, creating this world in which it's the movie you're showing yourself to believe, and then Tandy knows to cut through it and actually get to the truth. And just, I mean, what Olivia and Aubrey brought to it was just amazing.
And, you know, speaking of Nathan Bowen, when Scarborough is tied up, he seems to allude to his own knowledge of Nathan Bowen's abusive past. Is this true?
Yeah, I don't think Scarborough will be blind to that. He's the kind of boss who keeps track of his people, and he's probably seen it at work a little bit. So he's not too surprised. So I think it's really just a world that Melissa has created to keep Tandy safe, and whether or not it was fair or not is something we're excited to explore.
And it gives another layer to her own addiction too. Just that extra, like, you know, context to her home life. Was not happy. So.
And again, she's been abusive to other people emotionally, so it's an interesting way to her to trace whether she's more of a Melissa or a Nathan in life.
Or neither, and to learn from them, hopefully, too.
Yeah.
Maybe with friendship, like maybe Tyrone, and maybe, you know.
But that's all like positive growth.
No, man.
It's great. I mean, and then, you know, we've talked about this before, but when you learn as a kid that your parents are people and that they make mistakes, that can be really devastating if you've built someone up in your mind. And so she's
like
had
a dead
this
parent too.
that you don't remember that well. She has her dad up on this pedestal and her mom sort of thinking that she is the cause of many of her problems a little bit. And so seeing that shift kind of changes what you think of your own identity and meaty stuff.
Yeah, and listen, when Andrea Roth was here, we talked about kind of how she was playing this all the way through, and if you go back and watch it, just kind of seeing, like, Tandy will mention her dad, and you'll kind of see like a subtle look from Andrea, and she just like really just did some amazing work to kind of play both sides of that story.
Wow.
I love that. Well, Joe, we ran this episode through our high-powered Nerdist supercomputer so that no detail was missed. So let's run through stuff that we noticed in episode 8. At the beginning of the episode, Ivan Hess gives the name of Nathan Bowen's safety deposit box as Bernoulli, then describes it as an inside joke. Does this have anything to do with the scientific equation Bernoulli's principle, which deals with the conservation of energy in relation to fluid dynamics? Yes, we Googled.
Yes, you Googled. Wow. Yes, that is honestly like as much as I know about fluid dynamics.
Cool.
And we decided to throw the Bernoulli principle in there just to make sure it was the nerdiest private joke between two scientists ever.
I love it.
Nice.
Is Bernoulli, is it a reference to some larger person or thing in the Marvel Universe, or just the actual scientist?
I think it's more to the mechanics of what we're dealing with in these last 3 episodes.
Yeah. And really quick, Joe, I liked the nod that you did in this episode to another character that O'Reilly dropped, that little name drop. I think as Marvel fans know exactly what I'm talking about. I thought that was fantastic. That was really great.
I don't know what you're talking about. But
Okay, great, cool.
And just in case our supercomputer was a little bit broken, is there anything else that we missed from this episode?
No, I think you guys got it all. The one thing I want to point out is early in the next episode, you're going to see the murder weapon for the Fuchs murder. And you should pay attention to that and understand where that comes from, because it might come in later on.
For the Fuchs murder, the murder weapon. Okay.
Okay.
The
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Rammed them in. Okay.
Yes. And now it's almost time to bring out the stars of the show. But before we do, let's take another look at when Tandy shows up at Tyrone's house unannounced. Rude.
Why are you here?
What? No hug? Not even a handshake?
Come on, Tandy.
Tyrone? What's this?
Oh, this is my friend.
Tandy. Hi.
Well, why did you stop by today, Tandy?
Today, I guess. And my dad died the same night as Tyrone's brother. So I just thought I'd come check on Ty.
That's very nice of you, Tandy. Thank you.
Are you guys doing anything special for Billy today?
No. We're not.
We're just in the middle of breakfast.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you guys get back to it.
Nice meeting you.
No, if you want to come over tonight, my mom and I are doing something. It's small, but it's something.
Yeah. Okay, maybe.
Cool.
Please give a very warm welcome to Olivia Holt and Aubrey Joseph.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. Thank you guys so much for coming back. So first question, right off the bat, there were a lot of big changes in this episode. How do you think your characters will change moving forward?
Dang.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyrone is a full-on savage at this point. I have to say.
The sass is real too.
Yeah.
You've become mega sassy.
And it's so good to see that from him, because he's just such a shy kid,
Yeah.
and even though he grew up with this kind of fearless mentality, he's become so afraid of a lot of things in the world. So it's just great to see him like face all the problems head on and kind of take charge. So
It's interesting because I feel like Tandy's going through the opposite. She's been so fearless for so long, and is now super vulnerable. And I mean, her emotional headspace is just it's like on point at all times. So yeah, I think the growth is going to be really interesting and fascinating for the audience to follow. But I think for us, it's definitely something that they need to go through in order to respect and appreciate each other.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that growth. And how has it been? What in your performance at this point do you think has changed for these characters? Like the way you approach them, has that changed, or are you still kind of driving at them the same way?
I think it depends on the scene. I think as far as Tandy's manipulative state, it's very much the same. I think when she has a mission and an agenda, she sticks with that. I think all the stuff that's going on with her dad, and especially being around her mom, and especially like the scene that we just saw, like that day, I think in particular, like there's a soft spot for that, So I don't think there's this I think there's just a bit of, it's a bit sensitive. So I think it just depends on the scene and how we approach that. And I feel the same with Tyrone, but you can.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like a lot of this savagery that we see from him is a lot of stuff that he's learning from Tandy, and just seeing how she, takes charge. And I mean, as far as performance, I feel like, whatever is given to me on the page, I feel like it just comes out for Ty. And obviously, that this day is here is very huge to him, and I feel like his whole life he's kind of been trying to make up for the death of Billy and avenge his death. So I think this was just, a great episode for him. And, that smile that he has after they get Connors is like really what he's been waiting for, his entire life. So
yeah, I think it was so smart to set this episode on this day, on this very important day to both of these characters' lives. I think it was great. Olivia, do you think that Tandy is at all conflicted in taking this Roxanne money? Is this part of a diabolical plan that we're not aware of as the audience? Because we're just along for the ride. What's happening?
Yeah, no, I think once she realizes what's going down with her dad, I think it's I think she knows what she wants to do, and I mean, how heartbreaking to find out that your hero, the guy that she's been just so wrapped up in for, I mean, not just these 8 years, her entire life, and then finding out that he's been an abusive husband, and who knows where that story will take us. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, I think she then, I think there's no confliction. I think she knows what she has to do at that point, especially for her family. I think her and her mom they're not doing so good. They're on the struggle bus, and I think the money was an easy decision to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Aubrey, in this episode, you finally got to wear the cloak and use it to hold Connors accountable. What was it like putting it on for the first time during filming that scene?
Superhero.
Crazy.
And more importantly, since your jacket game is clearly on point, do you think you will have a cloak soon in real life?
Bring
Whoa,
back into
I mean, I wish if that's possible. It was funny because like everyone on set was like, I guess, just as excited as me. So like the day that we shot the scene, obviously where Billy got shot, it was crazy, like a crazy day. I remember I sent the picture over to Liv, like of me in the cloak, and I was like, it's happening.
Everybody was already over my daggers at this point. They've been seeing them since the beginning. They were like, we know how the daggers work. We want to see the cloak.
Yeah.
I did too. I was really excited when I saw the picture.
I was having a really bad day, and I think Lauren, our costume designer, sent me videos of you running across the parking lot in front of the trailers with the cloak. You remember that? I remember that. I remember it's like, getting notes on this and blah, blah, blah. And then I get like, boom, and I'm like, and it's just you like with this smile on your face, like, and the wind billowing. I'm like, okay, let's keep doing this job. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it just made everything feel real.
Finally happened.
Guys, now you both have been great, and we want to give you a gift. So now we want to also at the same time do less work. So now we're going to have, we have Joe right here with us. We're going to have, and the cameras are on for evidence. You guys are going to be given the opportunity to interview Joe. Ask him anything you like, and he must answer truthfully.
Wow.
Right.
Joe.
Yes. Alan, is it?
Right, you got it. When was the first moment that you fell in love with me? Is that too much?
First moment that I fell in love with you.
Had to have been the audition.
I think when you guys were auditioning, the very first audition, when you guys were sitting there, and I think we had met Olivia first, and we're like, Jeff Loeb did his thing of like, what are you guys doing this weekend? And Olivia's like, I'm gonna sing the national anthem at the Pro Bowl. And then and she's like, did it kind of cool. And then you came on and we're like, what are you doing this weekend? And you're like, I'm in this fraternity and we're gonna have a party. And you seemed 10 times more excited than she was. And I was like, I kind of love this kid.
Okay.
Good, that was a good interview, everybody.
That was great. Nope. Olivia's next. Nope.
What is your favorite memory of being down in New Orleans with the two of us?
Great question.
God.
We had a
That
lot
I
of great
can say
memories.
on camera. I think it was after the rap party where for some reason we were at a karaoke establishment, and I thought it would be a good idea to sing Empire State of Mind duet with this one in honor of this one.
Because Aubrey's from New York.
And so I think between us, we were half of a good singer. I think one of us was very talented and the other one was me.
Nah,
But listen, I had so many good memories. I honestly, like the whole entire thing. My biggest memory is the very last day where you guys talked to the whole crew and the cast when we were in the place I can't talk about because they haven't seen it yet.
Ooh.
And you, in the same way you guys always with such grace and such class, thanked everybody for kind of being supportive and reminded us that you guys aren't even fully baked yet. You're just, you're still these young human beings. And you thanked everyone for taking care of you. And I thought that was one of the sweetest things I've ever seen.
My goodness.
Wow.
So lots of good memories. It's been fun so far.
I thought we were having fun. I'm about
Sorry.
to cry.
I know, we're getting emotional now.
Oh my
This
God.
is a safe place.
Just
to
got real.
cry.
Just got real.
Yeah.
I mean, since we're talking about emotions. Episode 8 was an emotional roller coaster, and it left us saying, wait, what? So what can we expect from episode 9? Well, let's take a look at this Nerdist After exclusive sneak peek.
Freak like me, she knows just what I like. She carries all the keys to the places that no one dares to find. She won't tell nobody.
I don't know what you gave me, but I am flying. How about you?
I'm getting there.
What can I do to get you here with me?
You're gonna think it's lame.
I promise you, I will not.
I want to know your greatest hopes.
My greatest hopes?
Joe, I think we already have an entry for our Things We Noticed segment next time. Was that that was the Stan the Man Lee painting, right? Is that going to be our official Stan Lee cameo in the show?
That is our official, that is, as someone has called it, our Stan Lee Warhol. I love all things genre, but I remember being a 7-year-old boy sitting down to like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and being like, welcome true believer. And I'd be like, got my crunch berries, we're ready to go, Stan Lee. So he's still a hero.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, guys, that is it for this episode of Nerdist After. So many answers, but still so many questions. And we want to hear your questions and theories, so tweet them to us at Nerdist with the hashtag Cloak and Dagger, and we might use it next week.
And follow the show on Twitter at Cloak and Dagger, at Freeform TV, and at Marvel. You can catch new episodes of Marvel's Cloak and Dagger on Freeform Thursdays at 8 p.m. or on Hulu and the Freeform app. Thank you to Rachel Hine, Joe Pokaski, Olivia Holt, and Aubrey Joseph for joining us. Yay! I'm Eliza Pearl.
And I'm Hector Navarro. We'll see you after next week's new episode of Marvel's Cloak and Dagger.
You can find us on Nerdist.com and Nerdist YouTube and Facebook pages, as well as Freeform's and Marvel's digital platforms. See you next week.
Bye.